this. I don't know about you, but I'm tired. I am worn out. I am fed up. I've had enough. I am tired of exposing corruption, doing our homework, going overseas and having documents translated to make sure they're exactly right, presenting the evidence. We know what's happening, except then once we expose it, nothing happens. Nobody goes to jail. Nobody pays for a damn thing anymore. Nothing. If you and I did half the things that people in Washington do every day, you and I would go to prison. Clinton got away with it. Even the left knew that the Clinton Foundation was dirty. They sold uranium to our biggest enemy, Russia. Nothing. No. She can take confidential, top secret emails and put them on her server at her home, something you and I would go to prison for. We would be in prison for the rest of our lives. Not a big deal. Benghazi? No. Not only did we show you that we were gun running to a group in Syria that became ISIS, that's what we were doing in Benghazi. Not only that, but just the killing of a U.S. ambassador, and, might I point out, on Veterans Day, we abandoned our troops. Did anything happen? Nope. Nope. Mm-mm. Nothing. Nothing. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of actually being open and saying, okay, well, let's look into the spying on this presidential candidate. That's a pretty hefty charge. Were they doing it? And then finding out, yes, they were, and nothing happens. He was colluding with Russia. My gosh, that should be the biggest scandal of all time if that were true. If it wasn't true, and it was started, and evidence, paperwork even showed that they knew, all the way to the White House. You'd think that would be even a bigger story. Lying to the FISA courts, nothing. Creating an enemies list, nothing. Using our own intelligence agencies to assist in this operation. Spending millions of dollars on a claim they knew that wasn't true. The collusion on Russia, they knew it before the president was ever elected. The scandal. The loss of billions of tax dollars in Ukraine, no big deal. The lies and the collusion with the Obama administration in Ukraine, no big deal. Hunter Biden, forget about Burisma. What was that, $7 billion? Who cares? Look at Hunter Biden and his father in China. Oh, but we don't have any proof of that. Yes, we do. We have all the proof anyone who cares to be honest needs. We have all the documents on his own frickin' laptop, which have been verified for people that were working with him, who were Democrats that had those same emails on their computer. Nothing. The scandal of our Justice Department, the deep state, which I didn't believe in 4 years ago. My gosh, you've got to be dead and probably voting in the last election if you don't see the deep state. The corruption of our media telling us to deny our own eyes. There's a car on fire, and they're like, oh, nothing's happening here. It's totally peaceful. There's a car on fire behind you, but we're not supposed to notice that. Good has been made evil, and evil is made good. They ask you now to don't believe your own eyes, believe us. Our country is being torn apart on the streets by radicals who are marching with no Trump, no Biden, no America signs. But don't worry about that. This is just a peaceful group. Really? Our children are being indoctrinated with all kinds of crap, telling them that they're racist because of the color they were born with. The teachers' unions completely out of control. The lies of Black Lives Matter, Inc. And no one seems to care. No one seems to care that Black Lives Matter is actually a corporation. That Black Lives Matter on their own manifesto said they wanted to destroy the nuclear family, but that's all fine. Antifa? No, they're not wild in the streets. That's only an idea. Yeah, kind of like Nazism was an idea. But yet, if you support the Constitution, if you just say, I want a fair and legal count, you're a radical. You're an anti-government zealot. I've had it. I've had enough. I almost didn't make the show last week because this is what I wanted to say to you. Except it would have been followed with, so see you later.
Welcome to the JJ Carrell Show. Powerful 5 minutes. And Glenn Beck is 100% correct. I played that whole 5 minutes. That was one of those videos where I just kept looking at, okay, where do I cut it off? Where do I cut it off? Nope. I got to let this play. I got to let it play all the way out. Americans are pissed off. Like the title of my show, are you sick and tired of being lied to? Are you sick and tired of living in a matrix? Are you sick and tired of having a set of laws and rules and policies that you have to follow? But the elites, they can do whatever they want. Are you sick and tired of living in a society where savages that murder, rape, and pillage, child sex trafficking, drug trafficking, they get released with no bond, no bail, and they go and kill criminals with 72 arrests? 72 arrests. Is there a time in society where we go, this is your 73rd time you now are going away into a dark, dark dungeon and never coming out? Sorry. This is just the way it's going to be. But why do I expect justice at the lowest level, meaning street crime, violent street crime? Why do I expect there to be justice there and there's no justice at the top? Well, that's nonsensical. That can't. And if you know about law and order and justice, as I do, for being a LEO for 24 years, and you know the system, you know how it's played, and you know why they do what they do, you understand that it's called the broken window theory. You have a broken window in your neighborhood, and no one does anything. No one says anything. There's a little graffiti over there. No one does anything to clean it up. It becomes acceptable. It becomes normal. So now I got 3-4 houses with broken windows, doors hanging off the hinges, guys selling drugs on the corner, maybe a prostitute or two. And you're thinking, oh, that's terrible. We got to do something. And then you don't do anything. And now I got drug dealers everywhere. The whole neighborhood is blighted. I have prostitutes everywhere. I have drug people that are zombies walking around. And we're all wondering, how do we get here? Well, we got here with that very first broken window. And no one did anything. How did we get here in a lawless society? And let's not kid ourselves. I understand Donald Trump's president, and I'm a big supporter, big supporter. And he is a law and order president. It's going to take time, but we don't have time. So we need to be more aggressive. We had Black Lives Matter, defund the police, defund ICE, defund everybody. And now we're trying to get to normal. We're not trying to get to winning. It's like having this, we once had a Super Bowl, the dominating team, 5 Super Bowls in a row, something unprecedented. We're the greatest football team in the world. Now we're 0-16, 0-17. We were 3-15 last year, 3-14, whatever it is. And now we're trying to get to 500 or right above 500. We're not even thinking. They're in the meetings within that coaching staff. The meetings are, how do we get to even? Not great. Someone says, well, I'd love to go to the Super Bowl. Come on, get real, dude. We don't have the talent to go to the Super Bowl. Let's get to our first goal of winning at least 8 games, 9 games a year. That's where we are in America. I know it's hard to hear, but that's where we're at in America. We're not great. We were great, and we can be great again, but we're not great right now. We're in a moral cesspool. We're drowning in immorality. Our churches suck. All churches, all denominations suck. We've imported religious people that hate us. Islam and Muslims hate us. And we imported them by the millions. Why would any honest person ask, well, why did we do that? Well, we have to prove to the world that this white country is not bad. Well, wait a minute. We bring in 1.2 million legal immigrants a year of all races and nationalities. Isn't that enough? No, it's not. No, it's not. You must bow to the feet of diversity and inclusion, DEI. You must bow at the feet and apologize for your whiteness, for the greatness of America. And the fatal flaw that I have witnessed in the last several decades, and I have had this mantra in my life for a very, very long time, I refuse to apologize. I refuse. If I do something stupid or I make a mistake, I'm not talking about that. I'm not going to apologize for being a patriotic American. I'm not going to apologize for saying that we are a nation founded by white European Christians. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to play this game that the Constitution has not been decimated and turned into something we don't even understand now. I'm not going to play the game that we're the greatest nation that's ever existed and we're going to continue into that great stage for eternity just by existing. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to ignore past civilizations that, quite honestly, were much bigger than ours, much more powerful and strong. And where are they? Well, they're in the history books. Well, why? Because they did the same things that we did. They became a sexually perverse society with no morals. They invited their replacements in. They diluted the citizenship, and then they put all of their time, talent, and treasure into foreigners and ignored their own people. And they died. They died. Do you actually think the United States of America, if we continue on this trajectory, this road, that it doesn't end in absolute collapse? Honestly, can you have an intellectual conversation with me and say that everything's going to end out all right? If I asked the same question, say 50 years ago, even during the stupid Carter years where he's grossly incompetent, even then people are like, no, we're going to be all right. It's America. We're going to get out of here. We're going to get out of this. Here comes Ronald Reagan and the explosion of the 80s. But this is a different time than it was in the 70s. I was a young child in the 70s, a teenager in the 80s. These are different. What's the difference? And I've been thinking about this and thinking about it and thinking about it. What is the difference in America today? The difference is we imported 50 million people that do not share our beliefs, do not share our cultural history, do not believe or understand the type of government we have, do not speak our languages, do not believe in the same God, don't share our cultural norms, our food, our beliefs. And we have a whole generation of Americans that have been taught to hate America, that have America is a horrible nation. It is an oppressive, slave-driven nation. Slaves built America. No, they didn't. We built America. And it's about time that the citizens of America take great pride in who we are, who we once were. How did we get to this greatness? It was because settlers came to America. Did they do some horrible things to the Indians? Guess what? That's life. And that was life for the entire history of humanity. To carve out the Americans and say that we're the worst, are you insane? We still pay those Indians $6 billion a year to the Indian Affairs. They squander it. $6 billion. We give them lands. What other national or international world power came in and took over lands and allowed people to continue to be who they were? Never in the world history. Never. But we're not the same America as we were 50 years ago. 50 years ago, coming out of the malaise of the Carters and the stupid Democrats of the 70s into the powerful 80s. Well, how did we get great? Because we were all the same. 90% white, 10% black. We were Americans. And we were going to pull ourselves out of this and we were going to become great again. And we did. We don't share that common bond anymore. And thus the chaos we live in. Just like Glenn Beck said, we have the Russia collusion. We have the Clinton Foundation and the Clinton emails. Then we have Hunter Biden and we have President Biden stealing money, taking bribes. We have Obama. That has now come out today. As President Trump stated today, Obama was the key initiator. He was the creator. He was the genesis, the point of contact of the 2020 election stolen, the Russia hoax. Everything started with Obama. He's still walking free. We still have Fauci walking free. You have Ilhan Omar. We'll talk about her later. She's walking free. She's a walking fraud. Free. When is anyone going to be arrested? When is anyone going to be held accountable for their treason, for their criminal behavior, for their theft and fraud? When is that person, just one is going to be arrested? I'm not an attorney. I'm an investigator. If I was put in charge of the DOJ, I would have multitude of small units that are tasked with, you are only here to work on the 2020 election. I want indictments. You are going to work on Fauci and everyone else. You and your team, boom, go. You're the Russia hoax. You're the Hunter Biden. You're the Fauci vaccines and where's COVID. You're on Ilhan Omar. This is not hard. This is not rocket science. This is not me trying to, or Pam Bondi trying to find a cure for aggressive stage 4 brain tumor cancer. We're asking you, darling, to be a manager of people and get subpoenas, get warrants, get in front of the grand jury and get indictments. It's not hard. I'm not asking you to build a bridge in a year to China. I'm asking you to do what you have done for a very long time. Why are you not applying the principles when you were the Attorney General of Florida? And maybe it's time that you go. Honestly. Kash Patel, what have you done? Honestly, what have you done? I want to answer. Dan Bongino. Dan Bongino, if you were in my spot and I was in yours, you would be railing against me right now. You'd be calling me all kinds of names and question every bit of my integrity, and you'd be right to do so. Where are you? What have you done? Can you pull up the second? It's a post on X, and I believe it's true. And I want to read it if you don't mind. I'm going to read it off my phone. It's easier. This is Mila Joy. She has a great X account. I'm going to read it. Today is day 321 of the Trump administration. This was yesterday. Day 306 of Pam Bondi as Attorney General. Day 282 of Kash Patel as FBI Director. Day 265 with Dan Bongino as Assistant Director of the FBI. 0 politicians have been prosecuted. I voted to drain the swamp. Where are the arrests? Where are they? I wrote a book called Treason. Bestseller. still selling like crazy. I lay out what Joe Biden did to America on the open borders. I lay out what Mayorkas did. I lay out what Javier Becerra, the secretary of HHS, did, and the new secretary of HHS, RFK Jr., came out and basically quoted me. He didn't quote me, but he quoted me what I said, that the federal government's the world's largest child sex trafficking organization in modern history. And no one's been arrested. Do you know what kind of statement that is from RFK Jr.? To say that my predecessor created a situation where the HHS became the main collaborator in putting children into sex slavery. Silence. Tulsi Gabbard comes out. She's a warrior. She lays out all of the Russia hoax. The PP Steele dossier lays it all out. Says it's Obama, Clapper, Brennan, on and on and on. That was months ago. Nothing. And I want Donald Trump to hear this loud and clear. We didn't vote for all this other nonsense. We voted for the borders to be closed. We voted for mass deportations, and we voted for justice because we know it in the depth of our soul that, sir, when your time runs out and another rhino comes in to office or a Democrat, January 6th is going to look like a field day. It's going to look like a walk in the park compared to the oppressive, Stalinistic rounding up of conservatives like myself. We know it. Do you think the left is going to go back to their old playbook, or do you think the left is going to accelerate everything? Of course, they're going to accelerate everything. Let's look at another lie. Something else that we're never going to get the truth out of. And I want you, before I show this, Nick, let me just set this up for a second. I want to talk about Charlie Kirk just for a second. I want you to try to understand how they lie to us in real time and tell us, don't worry, everything's good. Are you telling me when you watch this video of a gentleman shooting a 30-06 and see what it does, he puts like a head, neck, a torso, a head, and the neck and shoulders, and he shoots it. And when you see the damage, it's a replica of a human head, the same weight, the density of the skin and bone, everything's the same as a human. And you see what that does. And then you listen to what we've been told. That was a 30-06. But Charlie Kirk had superhuman skin and the bullet could not exit out of his neck. And then you listen to people like Senator from Utah. Gosh, I apologize for forgetting his name. Mike something. I apologize. Telling you try to explain that the shooter climbed up the wall and got onto the roof, changed his clothes, shot Charlie Kirk, put his clothes back on somewhere between getting off the roof and reassembling his gun in the woods. What did you just say? And then they pave over the crime scene within 48 hours at night. I don't even remember seeing any crime tape. Why was there's no ambulance in the area? Was there a funeral? You had what, 75, 80, 90,000 people in the Phoenix Stadium for memorial, and not one picture that I'm aware of. I could be wrong. One picture, one anything of the funeral. Don't you think there would be a picture of the funeral? Don't you think there would be something, a statement, anything? When was he buried? Where was he buried? Where's his headstone? I don't know. I'm asking. Why did his security team run away? I'm supposed to believe some dude that's into transgender furries shot and killed Charlie. I'm supposed to believe that? And we'll never know the truth. And no one's going to go to jail. The right person's not going to go to jail. We live in a land of lies. And no government, no society can sustain this type of untrustworthiness, this level of dishonesty, this level of the lack of trust and survive. It just can't. It's impossible. Play this just on the Charlie Kirk, because I think this is important to put it into in like visually understand how they lied to us. Go ahead and play this.
Well, we definitely penetrated our water jugs, and I don't think this is going to help to stop the conspiracy theories. His head fell off. All right, guys, I figured this is probably what would happen. I was trying to remain optimistic, but that right there is why people are skeptical on the official story. The 30-06 is a very hard round to stop. So we actually lost the top half of the vertebrae right there, and you can see the bullet hole going straight through it. So
he shot through his neck. You saw the explosion of his neck. The entrance and exit wound was so powerful that it literally exploded his neck, blew out his spinal cord from his neck. And then the bullet went through several water jugs, like gigantic multi-gallon water jugs, just right through. But Charlie Kirk's neck is, and his skin is like a Tyrannosaurus Rex. It just can't go through it. Maybe he was shot with a 30-06. Maybe that a furry lover, transgender freak did it. Maybe they just decided in the middle of the night or early in the morning to pave over a crime scene. Maybe all of his security just ran away. Maybe all they have is grainy footage on their closed circuit television of him just climbing the roof and laying down and jumping off. Maybe there were not Egyptian air flights around. Maybe there weren't people with cell phones that originated in Israel in the crowd by like a dozen. Maybe there were just coincidentally multiple foreign nationals with cell phones inside the audience. Or maybe you're just stupid. Maybe that's what they're counting on. Maybe they're just counting on you moving along. I posted something yesterday or 2 days ago, went viral. I said on Charlie Kirk, I said, if you believe a transgender furry lover shot and killed Charlie Kirk, then let me tell you this little story about a moon landing. And it went uber viral because everyone sees the absurdity of what is reality. There is no reality. There is no morals and values. It's all relative. That's the greatest accomplishment of the left, of the evil left and the rhinos and Satan. They muddy the water so much you don't know what's right or what's wrong. It's just like Glenn Beck said, evil is good and good is evil. Nobody can tell a difference. Are you a man or a woman? I don't know. How is any society supposed to prosper under that? Not even prosper. How is a society supposed to survive? Many ways you can support me and this program. One is to go to our sponsors, sat123.com, sat123.com. Chris comes on our show once a week. He'll be on tomorrow. Awesome guy. This company is amazing because you are to be prepared. And I want to speak to all the parents, but more specifically the men, the fathers. You have an obligation to prepare your family for whatever. And we live in a world today that whatever is basically everything. I want you to be prepared. I want you to have a ballistic backpack if you have children and or if you travel or if you just your families and you guys are going out for a trip or anything, have a ballistic backpack. You have to have a backpack anyway. So why not one that will save your life? Same cost, same look, same packaging, same everything. Why don't you have a sat phone to have connectability with your family? Getting tons of snow here in Kansas, freezing weather, tornadoes, came from California with earthquakes. You need a sat phone. You need a generator. There are ruthless people stealing credit card data and phone data. Why don't you have a Faraday pack that goes inside your backpack to protect your money, your wallet, and your phone? These are just a few products at sat123.com. I only promote products and companies that I use. sat123.com/JJ, sat123.com/JJ. And then when you go on the website and you want to maybe speak to a customer service rep, but you're like, oh man, I don't feel like hitting 27 numbers and ending up in Yugoslavia, the old Yugoslavia, or Kyrgyzstan or Bangladesh. Well, you're not. You're going to end up in America speaking to an American. You won't be punching a bunch of numbers. You'll just hear someone say, hello, how can I help you? Wow. sat123.com/JJ. The other way is to go to my website, jjcarrell.com, jjcarrell.com, and jjcarrell.substack.com. Just go there, spread the word. That's all I ask. If you go there and you love it and you want to be a paid subscriber, more power to you. I post every day. I post something. Multiple times a day I post, and especially for paid subscribers. And the last thing you can do is not everyone, but a lot of people have asked me, how can I financially support you? So I had to come up with something. I couldn't just kept saying, no, don't worry about it. And people kept pressing, no, I want to help. Okay. Go to givesendgo.com/JJ Carrell, givesendgo.com/JJ Carrell. And as I say every day, one of the best things about Give, Send, Go, if you can't afford a donation, they have a prayer section where you can just say a prayer. And I say this and I'll say it every day. I'll take your prayers over money any single day because I desperately need it. As my father, a devout Catholic, used to say before, as he was living and when he began to die, all I want, JJ, is to die and be able to hang on to the outer rims of purgatory and claw my way into heaven. My dad was so black and white, man. He was just like, nope, I'm a horrible sinner, and I know my Father's in heaven. There's things that happened in my family's life, my siblings' lives, that we know that my Father's in heaven. Absolutely no doubt. No doubt. He's married to my mother, number one. Number two, he had 6 kids. Guarded presidents, 7 presidential administrations as a Secret Service agent, and was one of not one of. He was the greatest father that I could have ever, ever asked for, period. And I think that gets him to heaven. Walking into a house with a wife that's had it and 6 kids with 6 different problems, school, boyfriend, girlfriend, sports, not the right clothes, not I need a car. I mean, dear Lord, man, Dad, he went straight shot to heaven. Straight shot. So I'll take your prayers, like my father would say. Take the prayer, son, every day. And I will. Here's something that I want to pray for. I want justice for this individual. Who am I talking about? Ilhan Omar. What? And I'm not, as she would say, Trump has this grotesque fixation on me. No, sweetheart. You are a problem. And there's no ignoring the problem that you created. You are an illegal alien. Donald Trump called you an illegal alien today. I am an observer of people's body language, their cadence, how they speak. And I have said this on this show, and I'm going to say it again. I have watched Ilhan Omar for a very long time. She's been in the House almost 7 years. And I've watched this vile creature, vile, anti-American, but I will tell you who she is. She's tenacious. She's all of 105 pounds of pure, cold-blooded shark. And she attacks. She attacks. I have not seen that cold-blooded shark these last week to 10 days. I have seen somebody that has a halting language, somebody that seems very passive, someone that seems extremely defensive, almost starts to curl into that tiny little frame of hers. This is someone that knows it's coming. What is it? It is arrest. It is a denaturalization. It is a felony charge for marriage fraud. Now, all of a sudden, the actual marriage certificate of her marrying her brother has come out. It's all over the internet today, X today. She's a vile person. And the people that she represents in her district, I believe it's District 5 of Minnesota, we imported the people to vote someone like Ilhan Omar into our Congress. I want you to play number 4 for me, Nick, and listen to Donald Trump talk about Somalia and Omar.
Kind of immigrants that you do want to see in America?
They certainly contribute. Yeah, I want to see people. Yeah, I want to see people that contribute. I don't want to see Somalia. I don't want to see a woman that marries her brother to get in and then becomes a congressman, does nothing but complain. All she does is complain, and yet her country's a mess. It's one of the worst in the world. Let her go back, fix up her own country. Somalia, yeah, and I was right about it. I started complaining about Somalia long before the scandal. The horrible things they're doing to Minnesota, it's incredible. They have an incompetent governor there too. The Democrats are running some bad ships.
Speaking of ships, kind of.
I don't know how he sits there and does those interviews with that. There's such a smug look on that woman's face. But Benny Johnson on X, he's growing exponentially. He has great material. But he talks about the Somali culture. And before you play this clip 5, let me just tell you, because you're going to hear him say this, but this is maddening. Okay? What country would let other citizens from a foreign nation completely adverse to everything about America? Why would you import those people? And what are those people known for? Let me read you a couple things we've talked about before, but it's shocking. inbreeding rates 60% plus. Let me say that again. They have an over 60% of their people are inbreeding, having marriage and sex with first cousins, brothers, sisters. Do you think that's a problem? Mass female genital mutilation. 58% of the population is illiterate. I have been saying that for a very long time. We have imported 50 million people into America illegally that are illiterate in their own language. Not illiterate in English, illiterate in their own language. 58%, and you know that's higher than that, in Somalia don't even know how to read or write their gutter language. The economy is based on piracy and fraud, Sharia law, and bloody tribal warfare. Now, what jackass in our government said, hey, you know what a great idea would be? And everyone's sitting around the Oval Office and the big cabinet meetings, and they're like, I don't know, Bob, what's the greatest idea? Well, you know what? I just woke up last night and I had this idea pop into my head, and I think it's brilliant. Let's bring in about 700 to 1 million Somalis. And every other jackass in the table had to go, Bob, that's a damn good idea. Let's do it, Bob. And they brought in 700 to 1 million Somalis. You can't make this up. Did anybody say, you know what would be good? How about a million Irishmen? What about 1 million Kiwis from New Zealand? How about 1 million Australians? You know what? Poland and Hungary are incredible. They're white European Christians like we used to have. Why don't we bring them in? Nope. They brought in, 37 South African whites, and the media castigated and called Trump a racist. 68, 30 to 60-ish, somewhere in there, white South Africans. They just brought in 30 million brown and black people in 4 years. 30 million. But we bring in 30 to 60 South African whites. Oh my God, the whole world's ending. I don't know if you've had enough. Like that level of I've had enough for me was, God, that was decades ago. It feels kind of, I don't take any enjoyment in this, but it is refreshing, if you will, if I can even place that kind of term or phrase on this. It is refreshing to have people finally catch up. And when they say to me, can you believe this? Yeah, I can. I wrote books about it. This isn't new to me, but I'm glad you finally caught up or closing in. I have a PhD in it, and you're in junior high, but I appreciate this desire to get into high school. Let's listen to Benny Johnson talk about what we just said. Shocking. Can you please stop it at 2:10?
Omar knew what was going on here and maybe profited off it.
Yeah, Rob. So let's take a step back and ask a question. Why do we import any Somalis to America? If you look at Somalia as a nation, you can plainly see that this country is not going to be compatible with Western civilization. Now, you asked about Ilhan Omar marrying her brother. That's horrifying. Being inbred is a very bad thing in Western civilization. It's not what you want to do. There are horrible genetic results. It can really collapse your gene pool. It's immoral in our culture. But in Somalian culture, Rob, up to 50% of the tribes are inbred. That's first and second cousin marriages. The coefficient there is one of the highest rates of interfamily marriages in the world. Also, some of the highest rates of child brides in the world. One of the highest rates of female genital mutilation on earth is from Somalia. One of the highest rates of polygamy and tribal warfare and fraud and piracy, all from Somalia, Rob. So you need to ask the question, wait a second, who decided that this was a good culture to bring here? Here's my test, Rob. My test is the people are the nation. So it's not like you're just bringing over a bunch of Americans, you're bringing over Somalia. So let's say you were to take Somalia as a place and make it a 51st state. Would you want to visit that state? Is that a place you'd want to go?
No,
You
I don't
should
want to
ask
visit
the same-
Somalia. Yeah, it's like spring break Somalia. Would you do that now? It's been a
course not,
failed
yeah.
state since Bill Clinton, and people think this is exclusive
right.
to just Minnesota. It's not. I don't know if you've seen this, but this is Winooski, Vermont, which is like 25 miles outside Burlington, Vermont. It's like 25 miles from the Canada border. Here they're raising the Somali flag. Again, this is Winooski, Vermont. Take a look. No sense.
Unbelievable. But who is she? Let's keep going down this road talking about Ilhan Omar. Who is she? Let's watch Jesse Waters talk about her.
So the Somalis are the real victims.
Yes.
So her father was a colonel in this Islamist communist Somali regime that the UN accused of committing war crimes and disgusting human atrocities. She leaves Somalia. She comes here, marries her brother,
Right.
commits immigration fraud, gets elected to Congress, and suddenly is worth $30 million. So everybody in her little Somali community, all of a sudden, not all of them, but a bunch,
Most of them.
steal $1 billion from American taxpayers. And then they buy nice cars and they fund her campaign. And then they get caught. And she says, no one's more upset about the fraud than us Somalis.
Right.
And that we're the real victims. Meanwhile, a lot of these people are on food stamps. They don't have a high school education. They can barely speak English. And all Stephen Miller says is you got to assimilate and you can't be a public charge. And she calls him a Nazi. And he's Jewish. She can't even get that right.
She can't even get that right. How mainstream is this? Fox News is covering it. Congressmen have talked about it. Let's pull up. Can you pull up this clip, this X post from Laura Ingraham? Laura Ingraham, for many things you can say about her, but one of the things that I always say about her is Laura Ingraham, the Fox News host, has been ahead of the curve on illegal immigration and the destruction of our country. And she posts this Daily Mail. And this Daily Mail outlines how she married her brother. It's no longer a question. This has already been proven. And that's why Donald Trump is being forced today to call her an illegal alien. Tom Homan came out today and said, yeah, I have people that have been assigned to her case to verify if she has marriage fraud. Now, listen, as big as this you think it's going to get, let's play this out. You can take that off. Thank you. Let's play this out. Let's say Tom Homan's Homeland Security investigators come up and they come to Tom Homan and they say, sir, it's indisputable. She married her brother. Here's all the evidence. This is a slam dunk case of marriage fraud, immigration marriage fraud. It is a felony. What does Mr. Homan have to do? He has to walk into the Capitol building, down the halls of Congress, into that skinny little Somalian's office and tell her to turn around because you're under arrest. And you're going to place the handcuffs on her, and then you're going to perp walk her. And you're going to tip off all of the podcasters. You're going to tip off Fox News, Newsmax, Real America's Voice, everybody. And we're going to take pictures, and we're going to sit there with that same smug look they have as they take one of their own. and she needs to be gone. Denaturalize her and ship her back to Somalia. That's a powerful message. That's something I think that's a great way to start the arrest-a-thon. Will we see that? I don't know. I don't want to ever bet against Tom Homan, and I'm not going to bet against him. So if I say that, then I'm going to push in all in that Tom Homan's going to do the right thing. I really believe it. Can you play number 8? Where did Omar get all her money? And this is a great minute or so, and these are great questions. Where did she get, in less than 2 years, $30 million? That's a lot of money. Let's see.
So we'll ask again, where did Ilhan Omar get all that darn money from? Let's go through it. When she first ran for Congress in 2018, she was married to a Somalian man named Ahmed Nur Said Elmi, and she had a net worth of approximately $65,000. Not a ton of money, but $65,000. By 2020, a whole 2 years later, Ilhan had already divorced and remarried another Somalian man by the name of Ahmed Aladizian Herzi, and her net worth was still right around $65,000. Yet just 4 years later, she was divorced and remarried again for a third or perhaps a fourth time. We don't know for sure because Ilhan Omar likely married her brother at one point to get him into this country illegally when she came here from Somalia, which, by the way, is a federal crime, and she's serving in Congress. And nobody talks about this. So by 2024, Ilhan's married to a new person, a white guy named Tim. There's Tim Minette. And Tim is not a rich man, but now he is. Tim's rich now because somehow over the course of the last 3 years, Ilhan Omar's net worth has skyrocketed to over $30 million and counting, meaning she went from having right around $65,000 to $30 million in 3 years. Think about that. Powerball drawing is tonight. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Ilhan Omar did not win the lottery. Bernie Madoff was cheating, and he still wasn't doing that well. That is a 46,000% increase in less than 3 years. Now, how do you suppose that happened? Do you really expect us all to believe that she just played the stock market like she's got a great investor and they just got kind of lucky over the course of the Biden presidency? And why are we the only ones asking these questions tonight? So once again, where did Ilhan Omar get all that money? And why is she trying to make Americans feel bad for Somalian criminals?
Incredible question. Where did she get her money? We all know it. Everyone knows it. We're all just caught in this matrix where we all have to just accept the fact that the elites get to dominate and destroy and commit criminal acts and be child pedophiles and child rapists. We just have to accept it. Why do I have to accept it? I refuse to accept it. I refuse to remain silent. And maybe that's why my show's growing. And it's growing exponentially. It's because people want the truth. And they don't want to be silent anymore. Looking at the clock, it's a fast show, Nick. We got about 6 minutes left. I want you to please go and support the sponsors of my show. And I have 2 sponsors I want to talk about. And the first one is Pet Club 24/7, Pet Club 247. You can go to truthwithjj247.com, truthwithjj247.com. What is Pet Club? Your pets are being fed garbage, plastics. Our humans, their masters, are being fed the same plastics and minerals and metals in our water, in our lotion, in our food. And so what is Pet Club? Pet Club focuses on your immune system, your digestion. I use Pet Club 247. I've told you before I have COVID. I've told you before that I have that long COVID. I tell you that I'm trying to clean my body. And the one way I want to do it is I'm using Pet Club 24/7, and it has made a drastic change in my health. You can hear it in my throat. The last couple, probably 2 weeks, I've been battling on this long COVID, but up until that time, I could feel me cleaning out my immune system. Pet Club 24/7 for pets, humans, for both. Because why? They use a proprietary mushroom made in Japan. They make it organically. They've been able to bring it together and put it in a peel form, a dog treat form, a balm, lotion for your skin. It's amazing. Over 400 peer-reviewed articles on Pet Club. I have many, many people that watch our show that are subscribers that go to their website and purchase their treats and their pills for, I call them pills, but they're capsules for the humans. Pet Club 24/7. Go to truthwithjj247.com. And the last one that I will tell you about is my favorite, is mypillow.com. Why? Because I have easily 10 to 15 pillows in my house from pillows.com, my pillow. And we have slippers and robes, and our bedding is from my pillow. Why not go to a company in America, Minnesota of all places, Minnesota, that hires Americans to build an American product that we all use? It's Christmas. Go there. Use my promo code JJ, save a ton of money. Go to mypillow.com, use the promo code JJ, and save money and purchase a product that is great and is American made. You know what, Nick? I want to do, I just want to skip over to number 10. And I want to set this up. It's only like a 20-second video, but I'd like to go there if I could first. This is Senator John Curtis of Utah. Utah, honestly, what the hell's going on? You gave us Mitt Romney, milquetoast Mitt Romney. You have Mike Lee. He's okay. And now you're giving us a guy named John Curtis. I want you to hear what John Curtis claims, as I'm going to quote him before we play it. He says Americans need to look up. They need to wake up every morning, look in the mirror, and you know what he says every American should do in the morning before they start their day? They should ask themselves a question. What question should that be, Mr. Curtis? Well, you should ask, quote, what am I doing today to make immigrants feel welcome? Am I living in the twilight zone? Is that where I'm at? Am I in another dimension? Honestly, I have to ask that. Am I crazy to my audience? Am I the one that's like half baked? Am I on drugs? Has somebody put something in my drinks? What's going on? Go ahead and play this, Nick, if you can.
Right. And the best thing I can do is set my example. And I think all of us need to wake up every morning, look in the mirror and say, what are we doing? What am I doing specifically today to make this country a better country, to make all of our immigrants feel more welcome? That's what we've always had. And I think if more of us would do that, it would matter less what individual said.
Right. But as you know, he's not just an individual. He's the president of the United States, calling an entire community garbage.
So
would anyone follow that guy across the street? Look at him trying to make excuses. You need to ask yourself, what are you doing to make immigrants more welcome in America? The same Americans same immigrants you're talking about, sir, that you're trying to apologize and make excuses for Donald Trump, the same ones that only 107,000 of them in Minnesota stole over $8 billion. That group of immigrants, how about this, you pasty ass white guy? I despise you more than anybody. You're a traitor. I have to wake up before I brush my teeth, start thinking about immigrants? Why is your allegiance to immigrants and not Americans? Well, we know the answer. They don't get wealthy by helping Americans. They get wealthy through NGOs receiving billions and billions, tens of billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars, and kicking it back to their loved ones that are on NGOs boards, and then through contributions to them. And they don't care. America can burn. America can't burn. There's nowhere else to go. This is our homeland. You need to be ready to fight, and you need to be ready to fight like right now.